Travis Wayne Goodsell. I have breaking news 24 days late. The church did release the new membership numbers. They did not make any changes to the Wikipedia articles that showed their work. And it's important to know exactly how they got their totals, because the church doesn't have a good track record of telling the truth. So it's important that we fact check them. But the church did come out with a statistical report for the 2023 April conference for the year 2022. On that very Saturday, they released it. And it shows 17,002,461 members, of which interesting, is a growth of 197,061, but I see that they have new children of record, which is what they've been using to fudge their numbers with. That's been done for about a decade now, which I guess they can, considering 1923 Mormons were no longer considered members, but are considered chattel. And so, in that particular case, yeah, children born and get a membership record are counted for their chattel numbers, which is what these are actually. But if you're going to be generous to the church, just the convert baptisms alone, those would have to be 8-year-olds. These aren't newborns who get a record when, because they don't have they worded it weird. They have total membership, new children of record during 2022, converts baptized during 2022. And I'm pretty sure they don't consider converts as the 8-year-old kids, because they're not really converted. They're sort of forced by their parents. And so, yeah, we do need to count both of these together, because that appears to be the new children of record is the actual child baptisms. See, this is why we need to fact check, see their work. You can't just tell us the conclusions and expect us to believe you when you have a track history of lies. So, 1, 3, 2, 1, 0, 3. So the total increase was 301,231 new Mormons. So, divide or minus 197,061. We got 401. So we lost 104,170 from that. So, and yeah, you'd expect deaths to be a part of this number. So not too many are filling out their forms to leave the church then, I would assume. But again, I don't know. But there is a standard number of deaths that I think I recognized before COVID was around 90,000. And so, yeah, that's about average for the number of deaths in the church. So it beat out the reporting of Holland. Still no word on his situation yet. Maybe it's already up and I just need to have another breaking news video for you. And so, we're not able to see the breakdown throughout all the world. And so the Wikipedia page that I go to is still for 2021. And so the church is still keeping this a secret, as they're not putting the change on Wikipedia anymore. They're not allowing anybody else to know of what's going on around the world. And it's kind of important because as I did the Hinckley video yesterday, late into the night, he was telling us, as I put that clip in for you, about how he wants to be fiscally conservative and not put the church in debt. And now they're not putting the church in debt. There's no way. Because of Ensign Peak Advisors, with all the money that they have there, it's clear that Hinckley's fiscal conservativeness was very effective. But they started that back in 1997, according to the whistleblower. And so he's talking about it 4 years later in 2001. So they already had a good substantial amount to justify the building of the conference center with that money, or with the money from tithing, which they put a reserve into which is a separate funding. But it's very curious that they're still trying to keep secrets from everybody, because sociologists are not able to have the accurate information necessary to give proper reporting. So just because I can let you know that 104,170 are no longer with the church, it's unclear as to how many people left the church versus how many people died. If it was 90,000, well, then that's 14,000 who are no longer a part of the church for other reasons. What are those other reasons? We know there's got to be some every year. But if you saw the quick video I did this morning, I recognized that YouTube had cut off my views for the William Law video. It was taken off hourly. It was, getting lots and lots of views and was steadily climbing. And then all of a sudden, boom, nothing. It just tanked, as if somebody had flipped a switch. And this is cyber terrorism for YouTube to pull this kind of a stunt, especially on one of their creators, just because the employee is Mormon and is trying to protect the church. But as I put in the thumbnail, the church released the Joseph Smith papers. It was in the church news. I reported on the church news. That's it. That's all. I went over the Joseph Smith papers. and did a video. And that's what I found. And lots of people liked what they saw. Not just lots of people watching. And so for YouTube, which most likely was the Mormon employee, this was an act of terrorism. Criminal terrorism. To protect the church. Because the facts of church history is that Brigham Young ordered the assassination of Joseph Smith. Those are the facts. Nobody can deny this. They'll do it, but you can't. It doesn't work to change facts. You can't. Facts have already happened. They are what really exists in time. And you can't change that, despite certain movies saying that you can. We've changed the timeline. Oh no, we've got to go back to the future. It's just, no, those are entertainment. They're not real. And so the statistics here are based on the hard documents, we assume, of actual membership records that were created for 2022, combined with the rest. But we know from 2011 that there was a mass exodus from the church, because the 2012 little video clip from ABC News, Utah, that I often put in yesterday as well, revealed that the actual active membership was about 5 million back then. It's Mormon membership end of 2011. You're not gonna. How many Mormons were there in 2010? Oh, 2011. End of every year, reported in the Church Almanac. Fuller consideration, huh? This was 2018. Distribution. Okay, so 18's there. Looks like it was just under 15 million. So, yeah, they lost 10 million, was estimated back in 2011. So, yeah, I was correct. 10 million Mormons just said, I'm through, I'm out. I want nothing more to do with this church. 10 million. But yet you can see the church is still counting them because they still have a membership record. They're still chattel for the church. This is what's called insurance fraud, where you puff up your numbers so that you can get temples built, or churches built, or recognition for missionary work in certain countries. They're frauding other governments around the world by saying that it's the 17 million now. And so when you see that the increase is less than 200,000, and you see that consistently over the past decade, you realize, like I did through my analytics with the videos, is that if I were to be treated equally, remove the algorithm, and just do a straight count with people who want to watch my video and click on it, you would expect over the decade, has it been a decade? 2014, almost a decade, wow. You'd expect to have a steady rise, generally. There'll be ups and downs, obviously, but overall, for the decade, I should be getting a steady increase, not just with total viewership, but for the particular videos as well. But YouTube has changed things, so now only the newer stuff is presented for you. And if by chance you search for a certain topic and one of my older stuff comes up because it's rare and unique in that sense, then YouTube will show those, as I've seen with a couple other people who've made comments lately. But for the most part, the video that the William Law video, there's no justifiable reason for it to all of a sudden lose viewership. You know, it could have an anomaly for 1 hour period of time, maybe, not likely, but it already was demonstrating the consistency of how it was going to go. And it hadn't reached its peak yet, because once it reaches its peak, you'll know, because it will start to incrementally decline. And that's what we're watching with the church, even though they're fudging the numbers. But to be at 17 million and only to get 200,000 with 62,000 missionaries, full-time teaching missionaries, 62,544. And so a rough estimate of 3 average per companionship. That's horrible. For the whole year, each companionship got only 3 convert baptisms. That's what it means. Technically, it's the 30,000, or not the 30,000, the 2,100. And so, yeah, it's still a rough 3 average, averaging down. It's not high enough to push it to 4 per companionship, but this is 3.5. That's bad. And as my experience with the church, I went to the New York mission, and when I first got there, I was told that I'd average 1 for my whole 2 years. If I'm, that was the consistent number that I was told when I came in. And Creole Coford came in a couple of months later. I believe it was July. Yeah, it would have been July. I went in May, and then he came in for Miyazaki. Was when he started out there. And he immediately turned things around. And missionaries were literally baptizing 200 per companionship per month. I'm not kidding on this. And so this is why the pressure came down on me and my companions. Or was it? No, it wasn't, because that was how many how many missionaries we had, was an average of 200. And so yeah, we were getting 200 per companionship. It seems unreal, but yeah, it was. It did seem unreal, but that's what we were getting. And here I am, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And so yeah, there was a big old scandal, and everybody was saying that I was slacking and fooling around, and other Augustine was depressed, trying to blame me because he was being shamed, and constantly going to the mission president begging him to transfer. And so we got stuck together for 6 months to punish him, which ended up punishing me. And so I've told you about how I developed a record system, and there in Newburgh, likewise, I was able to fully develop it. And I had 3 binders, big 5-inch binders of membership stats. I knew everybody in the town. We'd been everywhere in the town of Newburgh, New York. And so one morning, while we were having our breakfast time and time to study scriptures and the manual and whatever, because our little handbook designated what we were supposed to do for each time of the day, the zone leader just comes bursting in. We don't lock it, I guess. Why bother locking it? The kids upstairs come walking into our apartment whenever they feel like it anyway. And sometimes they'd even come through the windows. But regardless, fun times. The zone leader sees me on the couch there in the living room area of the apartment. Says, where's your investigator records? He just beelines right for the kitchen, where on the table it was the 3 binders. And he sees them, opens them up, and goes through them, and I'm still on the couch in the living room area. And I hear him say, "Oh, you have been working." It's just, they just don't get it. I wasn't lying to people. That's the whole thing, is that missions are not about getting numbers to add to the church. If people say I'm not interested, I don't push them to accept until they just give in and say, fine, I'll get baptized, because you're not going to retain them. You're going to lose them. But, when you're getting 200 per companionship per month, there was lots of pressure on me to conform and comply. And I had zone leader after district leader trying to get me to make covenants to get so many baptisms. I said, I can't do that. That's based on other people's agency. There's no way I can make a promise to you that I'm going to get 200 baptisms. What about 1? No, I can't make that promise. It's based on agency. You're asking me to lie to you and then go out and deny people their agency in order to get them in at all costs. If I have to lie, I have to lie. I can't do that. But that's what the church is wanting you to do now. As Nelson is setting the example, he's lying to you. This is not the church of Joseph Smith. This is the church of Jesus Christ. Joseph's church was not the church of Jesus Christ. And Mormons refuse to get this. The 5 million who are left. And it's probably even less than that, even though we've gone up 2 more million, approximately. Because that would mean that it's 7 million. But you'd have to factor in those who also left over the time period. And so 10 million, so that makes it easier for the numbers. So an added 2 million, so I'd have to write it out and show my numbers, because otherwise I'm going to make a math error. But yeah, well, 15 minus 10 million, that's 1/3 or 2/3 lost. And so out of 2 million, and rounded up to 21 million, that would be 1,400,000. Not 1,400, well, 1,400, yeah, 1,400,000. 140,000. Wouldn't it? No. Say I'm screwing it up. Anyway, I think you get the point, don't you? So we're still just barely above 5 million active membership, guessing. The church would know because of the sacrament meeting attendance. That gives the active membership numbers that the church is looking for. So unless they're going full ministry, as I did the video yesterday of, they purposely keep track of the numbers for this reason, is so that they can figure out where the weak part is in the world and then focus on it. That's why they do world tours. You know, and Razband has been reported out in Armenia and Egypt, and who was it in Jerusalem that I saw? Somebody was in Jerusalem recently. Don't think it was Razband, but regardless, it may have been. That could be his area. But yeah, that's why he's focusing on those particular areas, is those are hurting, and he's also trying to make deals with the leaders of the government in order to get more business deals going so that the church can make more money, and thus fraud the government as to the total membership numbers, fooling them into that thinking. Because if you're hearing about the church for the first time and you got a leader of the church coming to you and saying, oh yeah, we got 17 million members. Oh, that's a lot. No, they're lied to you. It's more like 5 million. And the majority of the Mormons stop being Mormon because they don't like the church and don't want anything to do with it. And so what does that say about the Mormons who are still left behind? Left behind. Hilarious. See, ex-Mormons and former Mormons have all been raptured. because they're the good guys. And the remaining Mormons in the church are the ones who've been left behind. If you know that movie series, Kevin Sorbo came out with another sequel to it. Just this month, I think, wasn't it? Or was it last month? I didn't get it because I don't have any of the original movies. But I don't know. Christian movies really bug me, just like the Book of Mormon movie bugged me. Anybody remember that? There was a guy, a Mormon, who tried to do Book of Mormon video movies, and he'd come out with the first one, and it was supposed to be the series. He was going to do it all, but I was sitting in the theater packed with Mormons, and it was so wrong from the text that I had had enough. And near the beginning, because that's how many errors were in the beginning, I got up, had to work my way through the crowd in the row that I was in, because I was in the middle seat, and walked out. That was the first time ever I walked out on a movie. See, my brother walked out on JFK that my parents took us to, because they wanted us to know about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And my brother walks out of the movie because he can't handle it. It is rated R, and we were kids, but my parents were there with us because they thought it was very important for us to know about this historical event in American government and American history. And but yeah, I didn't. I love the movie. Thought it was great. And then I've seen a YouTube video that goes over the facts, because the video shows that he was hit from multiple angles. It wasn't just a back shot, which, yeah, it's very clear he was a patsy. Let's get into that discussion, why don't we, at 33 minutes into this video. So we're done. But, yeah, this is how you scientifically do sociology of the church, is by getting the factual stats. And the church is lying to us with 17 million. And it's not giving us an accurate number of what's really going on. It's not showing us what's really going on with the church. And yes, the church is collapsing, but to have the church refuse to update the Wikipedia pages, wow. I mean, it's possible that Wikipedia banned them too. I noticed that they changed last year, or was it, I think it was last year, or earlier this year. They made it so that to download a PDF version of the article, you had to go to the 3 lines and click down, and it was listed there, which took me a while to figure that one out. But then it didn't last long. Now it's just gone. No PDFs at all anymore. So now you have to do a copy and paste into a Word program. And so I wanted to see if I signed in, had an account with them, if that would allow me to download PDF versions. But I went and filled out the email and password, and banned. I just started. What do you mean banned? I just had communications like a week or two earlier, talking with their main company about how Mormons are tampering with Mormon sites, putting incorrect information in there. Like, specifically, when I recognized that the church had, again, tainted Brigham Young's article, calling him the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's a bold-faced lie. Brigham Young is not the second president because Joseph's church was never called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Never. And I've gone over the Joseph Smith papers to even prove it, which the church themselves have released. And so this is a big scam that they're pulling on everybody, that they release the factual information, but they ignore it. And they deny it. It's crazy how much they know that you guys are just dumb and that you won't do what I do. And so, yeah, but nobody's listening to this far into the video to know about this, but yeah, it's just crazy. So, yeah, everything has gone wild.